Clerics stand as a beacon of divine power, channeling the power of the gods into their abilities. And while they can often be overlooked as the party healer, Clerics can pack quite a punch. Maybe you want to be the group healer, or maybe you want to be the group blaster. Whatever you want, it's possible to do with the Cleric. Because of that, I'm going to be doing this video a little bit differently, and instead of covering just 5 spells, I'm going to be covering 10 must-have spells broken down by the type of Cleric you want to play. So strap on your seatbelt, open up D&D Beyond, and why not hit that subscribe button while you're at it, as I take you through 10 must-have Cleric spells for D&D 5th edition. Let's start off slow and work our way up through the higher levels of play with today's first spells, Bane, Bless, and Guiding Bolt. Yes, I know that's 3 spells instead of 2, but let's be honest, Bane and Bless are kind of the same spells, just flipped, so I'm counting them as 1. Anyways, all 3 of these are first level spells that are great for any kind of Cleric you want to build, with Bane and Bless being more of a supportive style of play, and Guiding Bolt being more obviously damage oriented. Effectively, Bane and Bless are like cousin spells, with Bless being the more happy-go-lucky cousin, and Bane being the edgier, younger version of that. They either subtract a d4 from an enemy's roll, or add a d4 to an ally's roll. A d4 might not sound like a lot, but that is anywhere between 5 to 20% increase or decrease of a creature succeeding or failing on any given roll. And both of these spells can be used on multiple creatures with just 1 cast, making them incredibly effective at aiding your allies in combat. Now, Guiding Bolt, on the other hand, is a ranged spell attack that deals 4d6 radiant damage on a hit. Simple enough, but Guiding Bolt is actually one of the highest damage first level spells in the game. And it's not just that, the next attack against a creature hit by Guiding Bolt also has advantage. This means that alongside the pretty darn good damage for a first level spell, you also increase the likelihood of additional damage thereafter. So even though Guiding Bolt is more damage oriented, it still has a nice supportive effect, making it super effective for any type of Cleric build you want to go. Now let's move up into these second level spells with today's next grouping, Aid and Spiritual Weapon. These are 2 powerhouse spells that really don't get enough credit. Starting with Aid, you bolster up to 3 allies and increase their maximum hit points by 5 for up to 8 hours. That might sound pretty negligible, but since you're increasing the maximum hit points in doing so, you're also technically healing for 5, so it's kind of like a pseudo-healing spell as well. That means it's effectively 15 points of healing for just a second level spell, which is huge. This means that Aid isn't just a powerful preparation tool, but can also be a clutch area of effect heal for multiple allies in a difficult combat encounter. Now, Spiritual Weapon is the more offensive second level spell I chose, which creates a spectral floating weapon that deals 1d8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier worth of damage. The best thing about Spiritual Weapon is that it is not concentration and it only uses your bonus action. So you could cast an action cantrip in the same turn as you cast Spiritual Weapon. Or, if you do it on your subsequent turns, you could bonus action attack with your Spiritual Weapon and then cast a larger, more powerful concentration spell with your action. Both Aid and Spiritual Weapon are incredibly efficient spells in terms of action economy and raw output, and they can even be upcasted for additional effect. So if you haven't given these spells enough credit, then trust me, you should really go take a look. Taking another step up our staircase, we move into 3rd level spells with Mass Healing Word and Spirit Guardians. These are 2 classic spells that I would be honestly flabbergasted if you hadn't heard of them yet. Mass Healing Word is quite literally Healing Word, but a mass of healing words. Up to 6 creatures within 60 feet, healing for 1d4 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. I know it might sound strange since I just sang the praises of Aid in 2nd level, but Mass Healing Word also has different strengths. First being that it has double the range, which makes it much easier to use in combat. Second, it's only a bonus action, which means it leaves your main action open to attack, cast another spell, use a cantrip, dash, or whatever you really want to do with it. Spirit Guardians, however, is an incredibly powerful offensive spell that creates spirits around you within a 15-foot radius. Creatures within that radius must make a Wisdom saving throw, taking 3d8 radiant or necrotic damage depending upon your choice, and have their movement speed halved. It really is the ultimate get up in your enemy's face and prevent them from doing anything but dealing with you. Spirit Guardians is, however, a concentration spell, but assuming you're going for the up in the enemy's face kind of disruptive style of play, then there really is no better spell than Spirit Guardians. Also, both Mass Healing Word and Spirit Guardians can be upcasted for additional effect, making them incredibly useful in all levels of play. Which is a great segue to move up our staircase again into the 4th level spells, specifically Banishment and Death Ward. Now, both of these spells can be considered more supportive spells, which is honestly completely at odds with the entire premise I set at the beginning of the video. So for the sake of the argument, I will consider Banishment more aggressive of the two, and here's why. Banishment sends a single creature of your choice to another plane of existence on a failed charisma saving throw. The creature remains there for up to a minute unless they were banished from a plane of existence that they are not native from, at which point they remain there indefinitely. I know that doesn't sound offensive, but you're literally just disappearing an enemy from combat for an entire minute at least, all the while you have an entire minute to prepare for them to come back and just blast them. And that preparation time means you and your allies have prepared actions for when they come back, making this spell incredibly effective at setting up powerful combinations, especially when used in tandem with other spells or abilities. So while it does sound more supportive, it can definitely be used in a more offensive manner. But Death Ward, on the other hand, is quite literally the definition of support. For 8 hours, you protect one creature from death, and if they would drop to 0 hit points, then they instead drop to 1. And if a spell would outright kill a creature, Death Ward is consumed and the spell fails. So Death Ward can beat out the 9th level spell Power Word Kill, making it the ultimate fallback support spell. Honestly, there's not much more to say about these two spells, aside from every group should 100% have them all of the time, no questions asked. But that moves us into the 5th level spell slots for today, with our final grouping of spells being Flame Strike and Holy Weapon. Look, I know everyone was expecting Greater Restoration, and there's going to be comments about, why not Greater Restoration? And really, it's just because everyone knows what it does already, everyone knows it's a must-have spell, so there's no point in including it, right? If you have Greater Restoration, make sure you have it in your spellbook, but if you want something else, Holy Weapon. Anyways, let's start off with Flame Shock. It creates a 10-foot radius column of Divine Fire, dealing 46 fire and 46 radiant damage to all creatures within on a failed dex saving throw. That's Flame Strike. It's literally a giant column of Divine Fire, and you're going to be hard-pressed to find a more offensive spell in the Cleric spell list than that. Holy Weapon, on the other hand, is a bit different because it can be used to help an ally deal more damage over time. And helping is supporting, so yeah, that's the support spell. You cast Holy Weapon, and the weapon now shines bright light and can deal an extra 2d8 radiant damage on a hit. That might sound underwhelming, but Holy Weapon is concentration, and it is on every single hit. If you pop this on something like a fighter or a monk with literally a buttload of attacks, you can very quickly deal insane amounts of damage with Holy Weapon. In just 5 attacks, Holy Weapon will have been responsible for 10d8 of damage, and it just goes up from there. The longer you have it up, the more efficient it gets, and wow, that came out so wrong. Anyways, that's 10 must-have Cleric spells. If you want to see more must-have spells, you can check out the playlist in the corners or the description box below. Also, if you think I'm wrong about my list, let me know. I read every comment, almost always reply, and who knows, I might even feature your comment in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on Friday.